I'm Andrew Faris, the host of the Andrew Faris podcasts. My podcast is about growing e-commerce businesses, and I started it both to establish myself as an authority in the space of e-commerce and D2C and the professional landscape in which I exist, and then also to monetize it. And so I started it to build an audience and to create a revenue stream for myself. I chose Podcasting 360 because somebody else chose them before me. I used to have a different podcast. Podcast 360 was the post-production team on that podcast. And when I went and switched and started my own, I immediately took them with me. I have never handled my own podcast editing. It is a gigantic waste of time for me to do a bad job editing my podcast myself, when instead I could pay somebody a reasonable rate to do a great job of it. Podcast 360 does a great job putting out consistently high quality, highly reliable podcast edits in both video and audio form. I started my podcast as audio only, and they did a great job immediately integrating my particular style, including the exact bumper music that I wanted, all those things. It was really smooth from the get-go. But on top of that, when I actually added video to my podcast as well and started putting it on YouTube, they really seamlessly added YouTube edits. People repeatedly say to me, they're amazed at how well I can talk in a podcast without sounding like I'm saying and a lot. And I always tell them that's actually not me. It's because of the editing. They always did that with the audio. I was amazed at how smooth that was when I added video as well. What do I love about Podcast 360? That is an easy question for me to answer. They reliably give me very high quality post-production with show notes and social clips every single time on my podcast. It is delivered on time, consistently, and it's done at a very, very reasonable price. I have never seen another podcast post-production team that delivers the quality of work they do at their price. It's unbeatable, so far as I can tell. The main thing that I'm looking for is somebody who can take this part of the business, part of the podcasting experience off of my mind and off of my plate. And they do that great, reliably. It comes out good. My listeners like it, and I'm growing and I'm making money for my podcast, and that's what I need them for.